In December of 1872, a ship was discovered drifting across the Atlantic Ocean. Its sails were still set. The cargo was untouched. Food and water remained on board. The vessel itself was seaworthy. But when sailors climbed onto the deck, they discovered something that made the hair on the back of their necks stand up. The ship was completely empty. No captain, no crew, not even the family of the captain who had been traveling with him. The ship was the Mary Celeste, and the disappearance of everyone aboard it would become one of the most famous maritime mysteries in history. To understand why this mystery has lasted for more than 150 years, you have to imagine what it was like to sail the oceans in the 1800s. There were no radios, no satellites, no GPS. Ships left port and simply disappeared into the horizon for weeks or months at a time. When something went wrong at sea, there was usually no one nearby to help, and sometimes there was no one left alive to explain what happened. The Mary Celeste began its final known voyage on November 7, 1872. The ship departed from New York Harbor. Its destination was Genoa, Italy. The vessel was carrying a cargo of industrial alcohol packed into wooden barrels. The cargo itself was valuable, but it also had a dangerous property. Industrial alcohol produces flammable vapors. If those vapors escape into the air and encounter a spark, the result can be explosive. But at the time of departure, there was no sign that anything unusual would happen. The captain of the ship was Benjamin Briggs. He was known as an experienced and respected sailor. Briggs had commanded ships for years and had a reputation for caution and professionalism. This voyage was different from most. His wife, Sarah Briggs, was traveling with him. Their young daughter, Sophia, was also on board. Along with them were 7 crew members. Every man on board had sailing experience. Nothing about the crew suggested danger or instability. By all accounts, the voyage began normally. The Mary Celeste sailed eastward across the Atlantic Ocean. Wind conditions were moderate. The ship moved steadily toward Europe. For several days, nothing unusual was recorded in the ship's logbook. The crew performed their normal duties. Navigation checks were made. The sails were adjusted to match the wind. The ship continued forward. But at some point during the voyage, something changed. We know this because the last entry in the ship's logbook was written on November 25th. After that day, there were no more entries, and when the ship was discovered days later, the crew was gone. The vessel that discovered the Mary Celeste was called the Dei Gratia. Its crew first spotted the ship drifting in the Atlantic on December 4th. At first, the sight seemed strange, but not necessarily alarming. Ships sometimes sailed erratically if the wind shifted, but something about the way the Mary Celeste moved caught the attention of the sailors aboard the Dei Gratia. The ship's path was unstable. Its sails were partially set, and the vessel appeared to be wandering aimlessly. The captain of the Dei Gratia decided to send a boarding party to investigate. Several sailors climbed aboard the drifting vessel. What they found was deeply unsettling. The ship showed signs that it had been abandoned suddenly. The crew's personal belongings were still in their cabins. The cargo of alcohol barrels was still secured in the hold. The ship's galley contained food supplies. The captain's navigation instruments were missing, and the lifeboat that normally hung from the ship's side was gone. But the ship itself was still capable of sailing. That is the detail that makes the Mary Celeste mystery so strange. Normally, sailors abandon ship only when the vessel is sinking or burning. But the Mary Celeste showed no sign of catastrophic damage. Some water had entered the hold, but not enough to threaten the ship. The sails were still functional. The hull was intact. The vessel could still move under wind power. So why would an experienced captain abandon a ship that was still seaworthy? Over the decades, many theories have been proposed. Some people suggested pirates attacked the ship, but the cargo had not been stolen. The crew's valuables were still present. There were no signs of violence. Other theories suggested mutiny, but nothing on the ship indicated a struggle. The cabins were orderly. No weapons had been fired. No blood was found. Another possibility was a storm. Perhaps rough seas forced the crew into the lifeboat, but the ship itself showed no severe storm damage. And experienced sailors know that leaving a ship during a storm is often more dangerous than staying aboard. A different theory focused on the cargo itself. Remember that the ship was carrying industrial alcohol. Alcohol vapors are extremely flammable. If vapors leaked from the cargo barrels and filled the hold, the crew might have feared an explosion. Some historians believe Captain Briggs may have smelled those vapors. Imagine standing on the deck of a wooden ship in the middle of the Atlantic. You smell alcohol rising from below. You know your cargo can explode. You have your wife and young daughter on board. In that moment, the fear of a catastrophic blast might feel very real. Captain Briggs may have decided to temporarily evacuate the ship. Perhaps he ordered the crew into the lifeboat while they investigated the cargo. Perhaps they tied the lifeboat to the ship using a rope. This was not unheard of. Sailors sometimes moved into smaller boats temporarily while checking for dangers. But the ocean is unpredictable. A sudden wind shift could pull the ship away. A rope could snap under tension. A wave could separate the boat from the vessel. And once the connection between the lifeboat and the ship was broken, the situation would become desperate very quickly. The Mary Celeste was a large sailing vessel. It could catch wind and move faster than a small boat filled with people. Within minutes, the ship might have drifted beyond reach. Within an hour, it could have disappeared over the horizon. Now imagine the crew watching their ship slowly vanish. The ship carried their supplies, their navigation tools, their shelter. Without it, survival would depend entirely on the lifeboat. The Atlantic Ocean is vast. Even today, small vessels can be extremely difficult to locate. In the 1800s, rescue was mostly a matter of luck. If another ship happened to pass nearby, survivors might be found. If not, they could drift for days or weeks without anyone knowing where they were. The crew of the Mary Celeste may have faced exactly that situation. A small lifeboat drifting in the open Atlantic, limited supplies, no reliable navigation, and no guarantee that another vessel would ever see them. The ocean has erased many stories like this. Stories where a simple mistake becomes irreversible. Stories where a single decision changes everything. The Mary Celeste itself continued drifting. The wind carried it across the ocean, its sails catching whatever breeze the sea provided. Until the crew of the Dei Gratia discovered it. A perfectly good ship, sailing alone, its crew gone forever. In the years that followed, investigators tried to solve the mystery. But no definitive answer was ever found. No wreckage from the lifeboat was discovered. No survivors ever appeared. No final message was left behind. The ocean had taken the explanation with it. And that is why the story of the Mary Celeste still fascinates people today. Because it represents something deeply unsettling about the sea. The ocean does not always destroy ships with storms or waves. Sometimes it does something far stranger. Sometimes it simply removes the people, leaving the ship behind as silent evidence of a story that can never be fully told. For sailors, the lesson of the Mary Celeste is clear. Never abandon a ship unless it is truly sinking, because even a damaged ship offers shelter. A lifeboat offers almost none. The crew of the Mary Celeste may have believed they were making the safest decision possible. But the ocean does not always forgive decisions made in fear. Sometimes the most dangerous moment at sea is not the storm, not the waves, not even the cargo in the hold. Sometimes the most dangerous moment is the moment someone says the words, "Abandon ship." And once those words are spoken, the ocean takes control of the story. What do you think really happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste?